What's up guys, Joe with Trager Farms. I'm a habitat specialist with Whitetail Habitat Solutions alongside Jeff Sturgis and the gang. Hope everyone is having a good weekend. Probably not gonna see this till Monday or Tuesday, but had a request to kind of show you guys the inside of the barn and so on and so forth. So I thought while I am out here today finishing this side of the culvert, if you remember last time, if you watched that culvert video, we were working on this 10-foot door. We have a 10-foot door and a 16-foot door, and the 10-foot door I at least wanted to get done before things get too frozen, etc., just to get the tractor in and out, because if you can see the mud in there, we literally could not, just get in and out. We couldn't use it. So I've been working on that trench that you saw previously. Wanted to at least get one side done. Harold came and helped me out. This thick concrete unfortunately has some wire and stuff in it, which could be why it's a reasonable price. But also it should be kind of buried under a nicer stone once I get things done. So I try and throw these at the bottom of the road or the pile or what have you, and keep going. But anyway, so today I'm kind of finishing this other part of the drive. So you can see it's gonna kind of curl out to the rest of the road there, and then hopefully a nice little turn into the drive here and kind of smooth it out and get that limestone. But once this all settles, this did settle quite a bit, and things get pushed in, I think it'll be a good angle. It'll be nice and sloped, which is great, and kind of go from there. So we did get a porch, and kind of going through, I guess, the good, the bad, and the ugly for you guys, as well as just a little tour. I definitely recommend doing some kind of a covered porch. If you are like me, you drive, quite a ways, maybe an hour, 2 hours to get to your farms. And if you don't have a living space, it is hard to find a nice time and area to relax. And to have something like this where you can have a chair or two, I basically had just a corner of this porch done. So it's, 15 feet that way, 15 feet that way. The contractor actually didn't calculate the corner piece here. So I got a little bit more, but I'm not that kind of guy to take advantage of someone, so I gave him a little extra cash to make up for the materials at least, and things like that. So, but anyways, having some chairs, a covered area, if it's rain, you can just relax a little bit. I don't know about you guys, but when I get out here, I sweat my butt off. I'm working, I'm coming here to do something. It's rarely just to relax and hang out, which, don't get me wrong, a lot of us enjoy the work aspect of it, but it's nice to be able to come and maybe enjoy the farm, get a shower somewhere if possible, and just relax, maybe build a fire, have a beer, things like that. So the porch for us was perfect. If you remember years ago, my wife and I built that shed. I think it's about 12 by 16, and I think we did a pretty good job. It's not perfect, but I hadn't done too much carpentry in a while, and we used nice cement board, 3/4 inch plywood, metal roof, 2x6s and 6x6s on some cinder block for the foundation. So I should be able to slide it or move it somewhere on those 6x6s, which we may do, because if we ever did get the opportunity to build some kind of a cabin, it would be nice to have it here and kind of facing the field, maybe with a view or something like that. But that's probably a ways off. So anyway, love the porch idea. We'll head inside here. There's a door in the front and a door in the back. Might be a little dark at times, so I apologize. We are getting power to it, which is one aspect, I guess. I don't know if I would put that in the pro or the con area. It's obviously a pro to have power, but I was actually watching another gentleman on YouTube, and he said, he ended up really not needing it, and he almost wished he didn't. He kept things kind of simple and so on. But having power right at the road over there, I think it makes good sense probably to get it. Run maybe definitely some lights, garage door opener, potentially Wi-Fi, things like that, if we're gonna have some kind of a security system. So if you guys have any recommendations, I've definitely had quite a few clients over the last couple of years that have had some nice cameras and different systems that have all kinds of different features. One that was really cool was a zoom, so that if there were deer in his field, he could do security, but also zoom in and see, what kind of racks are out there, which I thought was awesome. Some have, minimal zooms, or the quality of the picture once you zoom in is quite poor. So anyway, so it's a 60 by 40 pole barn, 2 garage doors, like I was mentioning, 16 foot and a 10 foot. You know, I think it's good to have at least 2 doors and a pull through, which we don't have, but I don't have we used to have a camper here, don't have that anymore. I was just kind of getting run down with mice and not having enough time to take care of it. So if you do have the camper, remember being able to pull through would probably be very advantageous. The barn has a few windows, 4 windows. It was one thing actually the contractor almost missed because we had it in the contract, we had it in the contract and I saw only 3 in, and I don't live here, so I started asking questions, and he did end up remembering and looking back that, so they put a new, an additional window in. You can't really go wrong with that, guys. I know a lot of times we're trying to save some money, but if you're gonna do a building like this or bigger, I mean, you can already tell this is with almost every door open, and it's not bad, but you close these, it's pretty much dark in here, even during the daylight, and that's with 4 windows. So I wouldn't skimp too much on that for the extra, whatever it's gonna be, $1,000. Put the extra couple windows in, and especially depending if you're gonna have power run to it, because I kind of knew I was gonna run power and get some shop lights up above. So speaking of up above, the barn is 10 feet tall. And I'm not gonna lie, it still seems pretty tall. It almost makes me want to measure it, to be honest, but that's what we had in the contract, 10 feet. And I know the doors are supposed to be 10 feet. I mean, like, I can't dunk anymore, but if I used to be able to touch the rim, there's no way it was that high. That has to be a little higher, or I'm getting very weak and very old, which is possible. So I will measure that actually and get back to you. But my main point is with campers and things like that, if you're going to be doing that, you have to make sure the garage door is going to be able to, you're going to be able to slide that in and you know, get the height that you want. If you're going to do a loft, things like that, take that into consideration. Again, I know oftentimes we try to save money. It seems a little bit cheaper and so on, which it is, but if you end up deciding a year later that you and your family want to travel a little bit and get a camper and you can't fit it in the barn you just built, you're going to be pretty disappointed. So definitely take height into consideration. Also, I guess while we're on height, the porch, it's fine. It's just a porch. I might have one. Well, the video just stopped on me, so I don't know why that happened. I just talked to myself for 10 minutes. But the porch is, as I was saying, it's very close to my head. I am 6'2". The header here is quite close, probably 5-6 inches. So if you got any buddies that are close to 7 feet, which is probably rare, you're gonna wanna look at that. Anyone jumps and smacks their head, that's gonna kinda suck. So take that into consideration. I was kind of surprised, and I actually noticed it before they poured the cement, so I was nervous that when they did, I was gonna be hitting my head or not be able to just come on and off the porch without ducking, which would have been kind of sad. So the thing I was talking about while until I noticed this video wasn't being recorded is whether you want to have a living area or not in the pole barn, pros and cons. So I definitely recommend you guys putting sleeves in the concrete, even if you're unsure whether you're gonna run plumbing, electrical, things like that. There is a certain name for those sleeves, but it's basically you know, a tube, an area that you can run stuff through the concrete, so you don't need to drill holes in the wall. It's much cleaner look. It's gonna be much more advantageous. So think about just having that there and ready to go. I did have someone that was going to do that the week before. I did not follow up, and it was my fault, but it didn't get done. So now anything that I wanna do has to either poke through the wall, come up from the ceiling and all that jazz. The concrete is finished. There's nothing I can do about it. And that is something I regret. I was someone that said to my contractor, I've never done this before. You've done many of these. I'm sure there are tips, tricks, advantages, and things that you would recommend people do, even if it costs a little more. And I always say that because I want to get that info. I want people to tell me so that if there's something I don't know and they say, you really, really want to do this, it's gonna work out and I'm not gonna be disappointed later. Unfortunately, I never got much of that info. Sometimes too trusting, I guess, but so I got no sleeves and stuff in the concrete, and there's nothing prepped for any finished area. And I always, you know, was upfront and said that I might finish a portion of this or I might do a separate building. And that's the next kind of big dilemma for me is, are we gonna section off something in this barn where We insulate it, we have a place to sleep. Doesn't need to be huge, but just something nice, maybe a shower, that would be great. Or do we build a separate building? But now it's another slab, whole building, you know, you run additional power, all that jazz. If I did a separate building, then I'm looking at, you know, probably a well and septic and all that as well, which is quite costly nowadays. It seems like those prices have doubled. So think about in the future, if you think you're gonna do that, and take it into consideration if you're building a pole barn. Also with the height, you know, at 10 feet, if you're gonna do a loft or a storage area, you know, if you wanna be able to stand up there, you're gonna have to go higher. So I'm not disappointed with that because I don't have anything super tall, but you know, having something at 12 feet, you know, or 14 feet, it does look really nice, and you have that option to create that extra space, so much more storage, whatever it's gonna be. So I don't have too much in here, and that's because the build was also a few months behind, like it always is, and it was getting into fall and freezing when this was all done and the concrete was kind of cured and so on. So I did not get to seal the concrete. So I have kind of the basics in here, what I want to store. Some of this equipment isn't even mine. It's Dwayne's, helping each other out. And then I'm gonna remove everything once it's warming up in the spring. I'm gonna get a water-based sealer. I'll walk you guys through that as well. And I'm gonna seal all this concrete, so when I get, I just noticed some drip or hydraulic fluid, you know, coming down there, that it's not gonna be soaking into the concrete because that might stain now, and it'll be more easy to clean up, stuff like that. So I'm gonna remove everything, do a big sweep, maybe blow dust, power wash probably, clean off all the cement, seal it up, bring everything back in, and then I already have a couple of shelves and stuff like that for storage and kind of get things organized, and kind of leave maybe some of the more crummy stuff in the shed, just so whatever looks better, have a little more room in here to actually hang out. Because in that shed over there, like I was gonna say, after we build that, once we threw the lawnmower and the ATV and stuff like that in there, we barely had enough room to just have 2 people change and get ready to go hunting. It was just too much. So glad to have this space. I actually originally, when I went to the contractor, said, you know, I'd be good with a 30 by 40, 40 by 40 building, something to hold a future tractor and stuff and have some more room. And I don't know if it's because they get a kit and it just ends up maybe the spacing being better, but he automatically pretty much went to a 60 by 40. And I kind of just shrugged and said, you know, that would be great. If it works, it's in the budget, very cool. Another option is to insulate this. And my contractor talked about the specific boards that can go between the purlins, these horizontal wood things to kind of, you know, almost like they're pre-done and ready to go. And I didn't know if he just meant the normal pink foam board insulation or something different, but he made it sound pretty awesome if you wanted to insulate it. It also would be cool to do like a wood stove, you know, just if I wanted to insulate it and heat it to hang out and, again, keep it kind of rustic. I wouldn't mind that, but just gotta kind of decide what direction I want to go with everything first. So that is the barn, guys. It's a little, I guess, more of a tour, my ins and outs and what I was thinking. As far as the contractor goes, they did a good job on the build, outside of, you know, not really going above and beyond on anything. I will say they pre-punched all the holes. They're very symmetrical. A lot of the trim looks pretty good. Some is okay. I mean, metal is not probably the easiest to work with. I've only done it a few times. But, and, you know, there's just little things that, you know, maybe aren't perfect. Like a gap up here, you know, just different. Or this, maybe you guys would know, but is this, is that normal? Is this how you finish an edge? There's no gutters, but that just seems kind of weird. Don't break my ankle. It just seems kind of weird to finish it like that. Doesn't seem super clean. Again, it's not the end of the world, and I don't really know any better, but I'm happy with the build and how they did it for the most part. So that, you know, is the biggest thing. The biggest downside, I would say, outside of the stuff we talked about, is they truly left a mess, and I couldn't believe it. I came back, and I actually, you know, I don't think it played a factor, but to my mistake, I did pay like a week before they were really wrapping up and being done, because I was going to be out of town and we were already so delayed. And again, I'm always very trusting, but you know, they would say things like they were going to, finding more wire, they were going to put some gravel around the barn. He was going to, we kind of agreed on a price for him to do actually this initial driveway because they needed to get trucks in to pour the concrete. They were going to take 2 stumps out, the stump that I mentioned to you guys right here in the front. And there was another post that literally would have taken 20 seconds with the skid steer they already had out here to do. And they just, you know, no favors. They just pretty much ignored it even after bringing it up multiple times. Just because it's so close to the cement, now I have to try and use my tractor or dig it out. And I don't want all the ground to move that much. In effect, potentially cracking the cement with stuff being so close. The post that was here was literally probably 2 feet, 2.5 feet off of the cement. So I just thought it made sense to ask that. There were probably 4 or 5 piles, garbage, metal, wood, concrete chunks, random stuff, bottom pillar stuff that didn't get used, and also just like random, I don't even know where it came from, like random cement that would have been like broken off. I don't know if it went over the form or something, and then you just get these random kind of chunks of where they came from. There were pallets on the porch with random wood and then metal scraps, even little tiny ones, everywhere. I had to walk around with a bucket, pick all this up. I did bring it up to him, and they came back and they said, you know, well, that wasn't really included, and I didn't know picking up after yourself was something that needed to be included. You know, candy wrappers, pop bottles, blah, 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 is kind of disgusting. You know, and I get it. I can do some burns, I can help, but remember, it's my, and everyone's hard-earned time and money. If you got to travel out here to have fun, but I got to spend a day or more picking up after you spend a bunch of money to get a build, that's embarrassing. I've almost never had a contractor come up and say, hey, I'm done. Hope you like everything. Let me know if there's a problem or something I missed. It just kind of left like that. And I thought that was crazy. So they came back and he got the scrap metal of like the roofing stuff. There was still a little bit of metal around, which I have in a pile, I believe, because I don't know what to do with it. I believe I buried some of the cement just in another section on the farm to get that done. I got a bucket and I walked around everywhere and tried to pick up as much metal as I could. I mean, not even like sweeping the porch off. I just thought, I mean, you leave such a negative connotation after doing what seems to be a good job on the build when you do that. So if you're in that business, highly recommend that's not the route that you take, because now I don't know what I would do if I built something else, if I would use them again. But anyways, like I said, I am happy with the metal work and everything. I got a couple dirt piles I'll take care of with the tractor and dump where I want to dump them. I didn't have the tractor when I started this barn, so it's like, what if I wouldn't have had a tractor? I mean, what do people do? They just kind of leave stuff around instead of smoothing dirt out. I'll show you what I'm talking about. There was other plywood and random shit over here. There was literally plywood just in the back here laying there randomly. That's after they came back and cleaned up a little bit. And then I did some fires, which I have more to do, but I have this big pile of dirt and that big pile of dirt, which I'm fine. I'll put it where I want. And then I'll have to kind of go around and level this out when I can. And I'm going to put some stone around that, but I'll take you guys through my process and kind of how, maybe get some aerial footage and a drone and get this all organized and routes to drive around the barn with the tractor, maybe move the shed, all that good stuff. It's just fun. It's fun so that when you come here, everything is seamless. You can pull your equipment out. Nothing's getting stuck. You have, you know, you're not getting the mess like like I am when the mud dries off the tractor and so on. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. If you have input on security cameras you guys are liking or using at your farms, properties, barns, let me know. And if there's something now that I have this kind of raw shell, once I get this stuff sealed, that you think I should be adding, that you really enjoy, please let me know, because I think about this stuff a lot. So we will be back to the habitat stuff. I ordered cuttings. I hope you guys did too if you're gonna be putting cuttings in. Usually January 1st, whether it's evergreens or the cuttings of poplar, willows, dogwoods, all that good stuff. Most places are open for ordering now so they can ship. So stay on top of that. And before you know it, we're gonna be out there doing some more habitat stuff. So I hope you're having fun. If you're working on your timber stand improvement in the winter or talking to loggers, things like that, wish you the best. So unfortunately, we have a issue. The pipe culvert literally floated up in an area, and this was a coupler, and the coupler spread apart, I guess, all the way to the tractor. Now they're supposed to be over a foot. I mean, you can see the difference between that pipe and where this is here. I think it's well over a foot. It must have rose up. The ground started to freeze. Stone went under the culvert, and now I'm gonna have to redo this in the spring. So, or at least digging out this stone, pushing the culvert back down, redo the coupler. Someone said maybe putting a wire over the coupler and pounding that into the ground to hold it in place as you put stone on top. But after 2 full days of work, when things were coming together, that's kind of a bummer to see. So anyway, thought I would mention in case anyone's doing the same thing. We'll be spending another day or two when things warm up. So see you next time.